Shalom to the sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and welcome back to another Torah Tuesday. Hope everybody is well out there. So we're going to finish up on the dietary laws, okay? I think the last episode kind of dealt with beasts of the field, as well as animals that dwell in the seas and the oceans. And we dealt with that as far as what it was lawful to eat and what was unlawful to eat. This episode, we're going to deal with fowls, meaning birds, and creepy things. Okay, so we're going to go into that, dealing with the law. And there's one thing we got to understand, that the Most High, when he made these creatures, he also made the rules and regulations, on everything. Everything has an order, okay? And that's what basically the laws is about. It's about order, okay? So we're gonna go into the fowls, and I was looking, just trying to look certain birds up that the Bible actually has in there, and just try to get a visual on these animals as well. So we're gonna pull up a few of those as we get into the lesson. So we're going to start off in Leviticus first. I'll start off in Leviticus. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, we're going to start off in Leviticus chapter 11, and we're going to start off at verse 13. Okay, in verse 13. So, once again, we're dealing with the fowls of the air, and it's interesting as I was reading this, and I had a little note years ago, because, you go back over it and you read it and you make sure things is properly read, and make sure that, you actually stand within the laws as far as clean eating. Okay, and what I found out is that there's very few fowls, meaning birds, that the Heavenly Father allow the children of Israel to actually eat and consider clean. Very few. And we're going to get into it a little bit. So Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 13, and it reads, "As these and these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination: the eagle and the ostrich, the ossifrage and the ostrich." Okay, they still are the same family. Let's bring that up. Let's bring it up to show that they still like of the same family. Let's see. Let's get it here. I wanted to bring up the beetles. Let's bring it up right here. Started to look up a lot of different things. Let's bring up the ostrich. Okay, so it's like an eagle. It's like a vulture. It runs in the vulture family. All right, the Heavenly Father said we're not supposed to eat that. So let's bring up the ostrich. Okay, I thought it was an ostrich. I think ostrich is on here. Osprey. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Osprey. So as you can see, that these are birds of prey, dealing like within the family of the eagle, as we can see, which is considered as carnivores, but they are also they prey on other animals, as far as everything. They eat everything. You know what I'm saying? Anything that they can corner and claw and bring forth, like, whether it be fish. Let's bring that one up. You see, whether it be fish here, or uh, I've seen sometimes when they actually take away uh, sheep. The sheep that's not. Well, no, I'm sorry, the goats. They the goat. Yeah, the goats. The goats, because you see them on the cliff of mountains, and these birds are so big that they literally can carry away, you know, uh, baby goats. Okay, as you can see too, also Esau likes to make his technology, based upon the creation of the Most High and his animals. Like the helicopter, it kind of favors the I can't think of that bird, and I like that bird, the hummingbird. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, the hummingbird. Uh, so let's go back to Leviticus. Let's go back to Leviticus. The osprey, okay. Read verse 14. And the vulture and the kite after his kind. So let's just bring up vulture. As we're going to see, dealing with vultures is still within that family of carnivores. Yeah, this is a vulture. Still looking carnivore. Vulture here. Let's see, this one's better. A little bit better. These are the fowls of the air that the Heavenly Father that says that these are clean unto us. All right, let's go back to Leviticus. In verse 15, every raven after his kind. Now, when it says raven, let's bring up a raven. Let's bring up raven. All falls in the same family. It's like the crow. Okay. And as you can see that the feet also is sort of like a chicken feet, because it's not webbed, which we're going to get into. But the Heavenly Father points out that the raven, and after its kind, because there's many kinds of ravens. Here's a beautiful picture. Here's a beautiful picture of multiple ravens. Okay. Right there. Beautiful picture of them. All kinds of ravens. I can't see the names of them. But it's just real simple to bring certain things up. Okay. So it's saying raven after its kind, verse 16, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after its kind. Let's bring this up. Let's see what kind of birds this is. Make sure I get it right. Yeah, it's the cuckoo. So it's C-O, and the Bible is spelled differently. So it's C-O-K. So C-U. Another little bird. It's pronounced as cuckoo. And in Leviticus 16, it's spelled a little different here because it's spelled C-U C-C-O-C-C-K. They got the cuckoo, but it's still a raven of prey, and it's still within the raven family. And the hawk, we've seen hawks around after this kind, verse 17. And the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl. Let's look at cormorant. I looked early. It's still the same family. Now, this particular bird, it actually looks family of the duck. And I kind of look at because as you can see, it looks like a duck, and it looks like a within the duck family. And checking the feet of it, and it does have web feet. There. See, this particular bird has the web feet, which is definitely unlawful. Okay. That's the beat here. Back to Leviticus. Okay, verse 17 again. The little owl and the cormorant and great owl. So there's a great owl. So we'll know this. Just a little owl. Because like I said before, you look at these Bible channels, right? And once again, they would eat anything that they can catch. Okay, so and the owl family, the scripture says after it's time, it's talking about family of that bird, animal, or fish. So many kinds of species, but it still falls about the same category after it's kind. All right. And the swan, and the pelican, and the gear eagle. Okay. So we know swan, but I bring up the swan just to the point that it has web feet. Duck. Still follows by the family. Swan, pelican falls within that as well. See how the VR is as feet. So just about any kind of I was swan that has web feet is definitely unlawful. Okay, definitely unlawful. It's going to take that within the law as we get a little better explanation to it and do the root. Okay. So by 18, verse 19, and the stork and the heron after this kind, and the lapwing and the bat. Now I think the lapwing. Let's find out what the lapwing. I think that's within the family of that as well. Yeah, it's the lapwing. Some kind of bird. Okay. Let me see. The lapwing bird. Yeah, some kind of bird. I thought it was a bat. Okay, stand corrected again. That's why it's good to look these things up. Okay. So, and the lapwing, I don't know too much about this animal, but Most High named them, and as long as we got access to, this technology, we can bring them up, find out what region it actually lives in, and what it looks like, and hey, go from there. It's the way it is. Okay, and the lapwing and the bat. So we know the bat. We talking about and when it's like I said, after its kind. So we put in bat, it's gonna come up with all kinds of bats that lives in different regions. Okay. Right. So it lives in all different kinds of regions, all different kinds of bats, black bats, all kinds. Okay, we got an idea. You got the bat and the raven right next to each other. Okay. The bat and the raven right next to each other. All right. Going to continue on. Also, um, I wanted to bring up another one. Um, I, I think it's a heron. I'm going to bring that one up and just see what this animal is. Okay. We've seen this bird around, mostly actually out here in California as well as Florida, with the long legs, the heron bird. Seen this bird around. The gray heron bird. Yeah. Lives around water. Once again, like I said, these survival shows, they just find something to eat it. They don't care what it is, man. But the Heavenly Father has definitely put these rules and regulations in order for us. I'm going to continue to read because we're going to get into the creepy thing. But before we get into that, I want to go into Deuteronomy before we get into the creepy things. Let me bring up Deuteronomy because it's also listed in Deuteronomy chapter 14 as well. 14 and 11. Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 11. Of all clean birds ye shall eat. Now we get into the clean birds now. Now, this is the thing that, like I said before earlier, that I found it interesting, that is very limited, which is good. It's a good thing. That way we won't be confused when we start to look up as far as the fowls and the birds that are lawful to eat. Most High just narrow it down to like certain animals. Okay, certain fowls. I'm sorry, certain fowls, certain birds. And what I found out is going to be chicken, it's going to be turkey. It's a few other birds being here, but let's get into it and bring it out. Okay. Um, let's see what it says in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 14 and 11. Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they which ye shall not eat: the eagle, the ostrich, and the osprey. Okay, the gill. Let's bring that up. I did see that one. Let's get him back on there. Sorry about that. I think it's GE. No, GL. DE. The glade bird. Let's see what this is. Okay, more of the raven family. Yep, more of the raven family. I know I've seen this bird a lot with the two wings in the back. Okay, still part of the raven family. Okay, verse 13. Uh, and the glede and the kite and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind. Verse 15. And the owl and the nighthawk and the cuckoo and the hawk after his kind. The little owl and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the gyre eagle and the cormorant. Verse 18. And the stork and the, we just looked up the hare after his kind, and the lapwing and the bat. So it's repeating the same thing over again in Deuteronomy as well. Let me just bring up the stork, because the stork is kind of look at the stork in within the family of the swans. Make sure I get this right. Stork bird. There you go. This is been seeing this animal around, and the stork. Okay, so let's get into the animals which are clean, the actually fowls that are clean. Okay, let's go back to Leviticus. Let's go back to Leviticus, verse 13. Domination. Let's go back to Leviticus, though. Well, actually, I'm going to keep reading. Let me see. I'll keep reading. Verse 19 again. And every creepy thing that falleth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Right? But let's see. Let's see. I want to grab that, the clean fowls that you may eat. We may have to go back. May have to go back to Leviticus. Right, Leviticus chapter 23. Just give me a minute. Let's go back. Let's go back. I want 23. It's going to repeat itself like it said in Deuteronomy. It says, but all other flying creeping things. So now it says, all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet, right, shall be an abomination unto you. So when it says all other creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. Now I had to look that one up because I'm thinking, well, let me read on. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until even. So it goes into the carcasses of them. But I want to go back up because it says that walks on 4. And I had an example. I had an example about animals that walks on 4. I lost it. I think I lost that one. I won't be able to bring it back up. So let's go back to Leviticus. Let's go back to Leviticus. So let's bring up the the fowls that can be eaten, right? Once you start to look up animals that can be eaten as far as the fowls, and I had brought up one that's dealing with the chicken and the turkey. Okay, let's just bring them up real quick. Let's bring up the chicken. As we can see how the chicken, let me put in chicken feet, show you the difference between their feet and the ducks. Okay, you see how it's separate? There's no web in between the feet. Bring up some chicken feet. It's a delicacy in a lot of places, especially uh, in the Caribbeans. So no web feet here, as we can see. Um, and actually, to be honest with you, I looked up a pigeon, and actually, pigeon is lawful. I know people say it's a flying rat, but pigeons are lawful because it falls into the family of the chicken and of the fowls. Uh, the I forget the quails that was in the book of Exodus, which the Heavenly Father had brought quails once we was moving it through the wilderness. He had the quails to come up, and the quails and the pigeons run within the same family, as well as the chicken and the turkey. Okay, so let's bring up, so we got the chicken. Let's bring up the turkey. See what he looks like. Okay, turkey's lawful. Let's bring up turkey feet. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with the fowls, you have to look at the feet. The Most High said anything that walks upon fours will be unclean to us. Okay. Turkey feet. So you sort of like the chicken feet as well. Okay. Just kind of bring it up a little bit. This was going to be a simple lesson, like I said, because it's very limited on the fowls that we can eat. And I guess the Most High made it simple for us so that we won't have to be, running around trying to figure out, well, is this lawful, that lawful? No. And then especially in these days and times, it's try to make things as simple as possible. Dealing with the dietary law, nothing, just don't make it difficult. Just look these things up, research it a little bit, and come back and read the law. That's all to it, really. All to it. I did want. It was one question about the chickens fly. So I want to show this little video to show that chickens does fly, because there was a saying that chicken was unlawful because it walks as a creepy thing on the earth and it doesn't fly, right? I forgot what was the rumor around, but we had checked it out and looked it up, and chickens do fly. So I'm gonna play this little video real quick. And not only that, but look at the color of the chickens as well. These white chickens, I don't know where they come from. They could be hybrid chickens, but chickens are supposed to be brown or reddish. Okay, and that's what we're gonna see here, especially when you go to a farm that's in another country, as well as farms that's here, right? They are all reddish and brownish. Where we get our lamb for the Passover, he raised chickens, and I haven't seen not one white chicken that he has on his farm. Okay, and a lot of people that's lives outside of the U.S., when they come and start seeing white chickens, they would be wondering, like, where are they getting these white chickens from? So let me play a little bit of this video though. Okay, so as we can see that these chickens are flying. And on this particular one that he trained his chickens so that when he blows the whistle, they know it's feeding time. I want to get just a little bit. I want you to see the color of them. And no matter how they are, no matter where they at, they come flying. He sure got them trained, I'll tell you that. There's a few white ones, but they still brown. They not all white like the one. There goes one white one. One white one after all those brown and reddish. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, that's enough of that. Go back to Leviticus. All right. So I'm gonna start at Leviticus chapter 23 again, and I'm gonna jump back over to Deuteronomy. Leviticus chapter 23. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. Verse 24. I just read 24. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean till even. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Go back to Deuteronomy 14. And let's go back to 11. Go back. I'm gonna start at 11 again. I'm gonna start at 11, but then I'm just gonna just show you how he names the unclean animals, right? And it just narrow it down to whatever that particular animal is, and after its kind, that will be unclean. The other fowls, right? They are lawful to eat, which, like I said, it's only narrowed it down to a few of them. So verse 11 says, all of all clean birds ye shall eat, right? So I showed you some of the clean birds that we shall eat, but these are they which ye shall not eat: the eagle, the ostrich, and the osprey, the gyre, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, the owl, the nighthawk, the cuckoo, the hawk after his kind. So, naming all these other animals, the other fowls, okay, the stork, the bat, any other animals, right? It says, but all other clean fowls you shall eat, you may eat. Then it goes down a little bit more. So that's verse 20. So now I want to go into the creepy things, right? And when I started looking into the creepy things that the Heavenly Father said that we can eat, that's actually limited as well. I'm gonna go back to Leviticus. I want to bring up Leviticus. Leviticus 13, but I'm gonna go 41. Okay, Leviticus chapter 41. And every creepy thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever have more feet among all creepy things that creepeth upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. So let's just go into a few creepy things, or creeping things. Put it that way. I did have that. Let's go into a few creeping things. About that. You know what? Let me put it in like this. Okay, so I put in biblical creeping things. So there's a lot of, let's see, beetles, biblical creeping things, or creeping, put in beetles. Okay, so we got certain things. Let's go back to Leviticus. Just want to bring up some visuals. Okay, so we'll start at 42 again. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly. So let's just start there. Whatsoever go upon the belly. So as we know that a lot of the caterpillars, right, they have many legs and they also go upon the belly. They crawl upon the belly. Worms, they trying to say that you can eat worms. Worms are unlawful. You can't eat worms. All right. Centipedes, centipedes are definitely unlawful. Try to bring that up. I'm trying to look for some images of centipedes. If I take out beetles, it's going to give me an image of a centipede. Here we are here. This was considered as a creepy thing, okay, which is in the centipede family, right? We go down, we can bring up certain kinds of centipedes that crawl upon their belly, as well as have multiple legs. Okay, that has multiple legs that's on them. As we can see here. I don't know why it's not coming up the way I want it, but just to give that example, let's go back to Leviticus. Whatsoever crawleth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all fours, or whatsoever have more feet among all creeping things that creepeth upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. Verse 43, ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth it, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye shall be defiled thereby. Okay. So let's go verse 44. For I am the Lord your God, ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. Okay. So, just making things real simple. We can go back into bringing up other biblical biblical animals and insects that could be eaten, because even now is a big thing that of eating insects now. They're trying to say that the beef and the cows are actually bad for the environment, so they're trying to get people over to switch over to start eating certain kind of insects and things like that, which is nothing wrong with it. I mean, the insects has a lot of protein in it uh, that that is useful, and the scriptures tell you about like certain things that you can eat as far as quote unquote bugs. So I'm gonna go to Leviticus real quick because Leviticus didn't bring that out as far as like what can be eaten. Okay, let's go back to Leviticus 11, and um, I'm gonna bring up verse 22. Okay, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 22. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until even. And whosoever bit, I'm sorry, and whosoever breatheth out of the carcass, beareth out of the carcass of them, shall wash his clothes and be unclean till even. Bear it, meaning that, carrying it or handling it in a certain kind of way. All right. The Heavenly Father says, out, out, out of the carcass, them shall wash his clothes and be unclean till even. Okay. I'm gonna read. Well, actually, no, I've read that already. Leviticus chapter 23. So let's go back and let's just bring up some of the. Let's go back to verse. What was that? 22. Let's go back to 22 because it mentions the locust. It mentions the bald locust. It mentions the beetle, right? But it didn't say what kind of beetle, and it mentions the grasshopper. So let's go back up and let's put it in, see what happens. Okay, let's put in the locust. Let's bring in the locust. Now we know the locust is pretty much uh, dealing with vegetation, right? It chews the vegetation. We had an example in the book of Exodus, how the Most High called the locust, and it ate up, all the what was in the farms, what was greenery, the trees, the leaves, everything. But they're actually lawful. And the cricket, right? Here's some right here. Now, the cicada, right? The cicada may be a bug. I don't know, right? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I know the locust itself is, and I just brought that up because they had it next to it. But as you can see here, she's trying to fight them off because she's upset because it's just eating up all of her locust swarm climate. Now, what they can do, if they get hungry, they can get a big net and catch all of them. You know what I'm saying? Big net and catch them, and which would be lawful to eat. Um, and they said the cricket. Now, I had cricket before. I've had cricket before, and they had seasoned it so well that it really didn't have a certain taste to it. It was just crunchy. It was salty and crunchy. You know, I really didn't see no big thing of it. But here you are. Here you have. Let's see what kind of they have here. What kind of do they have here? Phrases after the locust. They have a locust, and let's find out what the bald locust is. Let's find out what that is. They have different kinds of grasshoppers because it did say the grasshopper. let's go back to Leviticus real quick. And let's see. It says the locust after its kind, the bald locust. We're going to look that up. After its kind, the beetle. And then it says the grasshopper. Okay, the grasshopper after his kind. So as we go back, we looking at, different kinds of grasshoppers here. I'm hoping that it doesn't come down to it to a point where we have to eat them. But, if you find yourself in a certain situation, um, and, you think of the dietary laws, then, if these things are abundance or around, hey, help yourself to them, to get by whatever the situation that you may be in. When it's even after this kind, because you got the cricket, then you have the what is that thing? It makes a lot of noise. I think that is the cricket. Okay, that is the cricket that makes a lot of noise. But the locust, let's see what the bald locust look like. It's probably just a bigger locust, but it still falls within the family of it. It won't let me do it. Let's see. Let's see what that is. Basically, it's about the same. Let me go back. It looks like the same. A lot of times, if you look at them, some are bigger than the other. Yeah, here's a cricket eating insects. It almost like a roach, but eating insects. Yep, it's a cricket. There you go. The little bitty crickets. Like I said, I hope it don't come down to that because, man, I'm telling you, I think then I actually become a vegetarian and start eating just fruits and vegetables. You know, but like you say, it's definitely lawful. Here's one right here. I don't know what kind of beetle this is. It says, "In every even these are them ye may eat." Okay, the locust after his kind. So here's something right here. Let's find out about that. It's taking me somewhere else. Eh, sorry about that. Let's go back. Okay, it's actually repeating Leviticus chapter 22. So this must be some kind of beetle. Let's bring it up. Like I say, I'll pass on the beetles, to be honest with you, because I don't know whether it's a lot of beetles out there, and I'll pass on them. But as you can see, how the different kinds of the locusts, the crickets, and the grasshoppers, I can identify them. Okay, I can definitely identify them, but the other ones, um, I can't. I'll pass on it. Put it that way. I will pass on that. Okay. So let's go back to Leviticus. Okay. So this one was let me go back. Sharon. So, this was just a quick little go into the files. I thought it would be a lot more detail as well. But when I started really looking into it, it just narrowed certain things down. It gives you more the variety of what files not to eat, more so than it gave an explanation on certain files that was clean and lawful. Now, with that being said, it's easy to find out. Like I said, if you look at the chicken, the turkey, and any file that's in that after its kind within that family would be lawful to eat. The rest of it, stay away from, period. I don't care what it is because it gave you a whole variety of unclean. So that narrows it down, which is good. Like I said before, which is good. The creeper things, Be honest with you, it narrows it down too, so that any other thing that you may be guessing upon, whether or not it's lawful to eat, just stay away from it. Simple as that. Okay. So we're going to end there. Didn't want to keep you too long. Just wanted to finish up the dietary laws. We're going to continue on with the laws of the Most High God in the next episodes and things that I bring you. I guess we start getting into more of the moral laws, you know, the moral laws. And then from there, we start getting to the holy convocational laws. So I'm going to leave you with that. Until next time, shalom.